back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I am your host, Jesse Ewell, and today we're going to be talking about the habit of taking life so serious. So I want you to think about this today as I'm going through this and kind of set you up on this episode. Over the last week, this has been a topic that has continued to come up not only in my life, but just in several instances. And so as we segue into this episode, I want to start out by just declaring this one thing. Stop taking life so serious. I want to share with you an experience I had earlier today where I was on a coaching call. I'm in a program that is actually called a self-actualization program. And one of the exercises, there's about 12 of us in there, one of the exercises that we actually went through was just simply allowing our body to kind of take over. Now, I've been in this program since about September, and, I've kind of debated on, do I really need to be here? Do I not need to be here? And I feel like I do this almost every month, and then every time we get on a call, I figure out, okay, now I know I'm here. But as we started to go through this, one of the gentlemen on the call, I was looking down at the screen, and all of a sudden he starts kind of like moving, but it wasn't moving in a normal way. It was like really moving. And I'm like, what the hell is like going on? And then all of a sudden this other person did. And it was kind of like the instructor. He's like, just allow yourself to move. Just allow yourself to do this. And then he kept saying, hey, you're going to want to control. You're going to want to hold back. You're going to want to do all these things because naturally this is how you show up in everyday life. Naturally, this is how you respond and react to life. And I'll be honest with you, at first, I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing any of this. I'm not doing any of this shit. And I started to judge how messed up everyone looked. I started to judge what everybody else was doing. And I started to just kind of go to my head and be like, man, what the hell is going on? I don't really understand what was happening. But I started to get triggered. I started to get really triggered and be like, and get uncomfortable, like just being on the call. But I felt myself want to start controlling everyone. But the only problem was everyone on the call was moving. I was really the only one not moving. And I started to want to control because I was getting uncomfortable. And think about in your life, the times you want to control the most are the times you're getting uncomfortable. It doesn't matter if it's in your marriage. If you're getting uncomfortable in your marriage or someone's having an uncomfortable conversation with your spouse, maybe you're out at a club. Your whole idea is to go down to controlling it, even inside of your business. When you get uncomfortable in your business, you begin to hold on to things and control them. This even happens in a workout. Think about it. If you get uncomfortable in a workout, whether it's sweat, your heart rate's up, you're going to try to control the pace of the workout. You're going to try to slow down to get comfortable. But at this point in this call that I was on, I had enough, and I just was like, you know what? Fuck it. I stopped worrying. I stopped worrying about what was going on. I got out of my head and started to drop into my body. I quit worrying about and thinking about how I looked or how I would look. And all of a sudden, I just let my body just take over. And as I let my body take over, I began to just move, man. And I could really feel like constraints, almost like someone had me like tied down for years, And I started to move. And as I'm talking about this, I even want to kind of move back to where I was because it felt like such a freeing feeling. But in this place, usually I would need a few drinks just to loosen up. But at this point, that wasn't really an option. So literally, every movement I made, it felt almost like a robot, or kind of feeling like I'm in quicksand. And next thing I know, I'm kind of like moving, like I'm breakdancing. And even though, hey, I don't really know exactly how to breakdance, I just kind of felt like I fell into it and it just naturally happened. I had rhythm, or at least that's what it felt like to me. And I really started to kind of let go of what I was holding on to. I started to get lost in this place of just feeling what it actually felt like to move and be in my body and move through life and allow life to actually happen to me versus trying to control life or trying to calculate it and exactly how it's going to happen. I got lost in the flow of life and I allowed the experience to come up. And as I was doing this, I felt myself want to yell and be like, ah, ah, and just begin to let things go. It really made me realize how much stuff we hold on to. It made me realize how many things that we can energetically hold on to, whether it's anger, rage, frustration, all of these things, control, all these things just to help keep us safe and help keep us safe in this safe place. I can't remember the last time I yelled out loud and just released some stuff. I can't remember the last time I just kind of let things go. But this went on for several minutes, and as it went on for several minutes, I got lost in even worrying about what anybody else was doing. I stopped watching everybody else and just started doing my own thing. And I got lost in that. And as I got lost in it, I felt like time was kind of standing still. And as this went on, and it got quieter and quieter, all of a sudden we stopped. And we went into just breathing into it. And it felt like a little bit of a release had came up. And we went through this, but I really started to kind of just be in this present moment and was like, what the hell just happened to me? Like, what the hell did I just go through? What did I just experience? Because right now I feel like I've let all these constraints go. I've just kind of let myself go and allowed myself to be in the experience without judging anything, without having to do anything or be anything. And I felt this release of stored up anger, frustration, control, all of a sudden just go. And after a few minutes, everyone kind of shared, hey, what was the experience that you had? And, several of the people had different experiences. Some of them were even kind of still going through it. But what was really cool was just to hear everybody, hey, this is what I experienced. And what's crazy is you always worry about what other people are thinking you're going to be doing or how you look. And no one's even paying attention. Everybody's kind of just in the present moment, focused on themselves. There were several, powerful shares that people had. But this thing that just kept coming up over and over in this last week, I shared and I said, one thing that's really came up for me a lot in the last week is like, why am I taking life so serious? Why am I taking life so serious when, I have kids, a business? It's easy, to think of, man, I'm building my business. I'm pushing my business. I want to go to this next level. But in the process of doing that, I'm taking things way too serious. And not only that, I'm around my kids and I'm way too serious. I'm around my wife and I'm way too serious. I'm coming home way too serious. But as I was interviewing a guest last week on my podcast, he said this same thing, or at least he had said that he had done some training or wrote a book or did something on like, why are you taking life so serious? And I didn't really know what he meant, even though that was kind of a topic that continued to come up throughout my week. And so next thing I know, I'm literally being walked through an exercise on how to experience joy. Like I shared this thing of, hey, I'm keep having this, confrontation with this thing of taking life so serious. And as I share this, the instructor, Dr. Mark, actually begins to walk me through an exercise on how to experience more joy in my life. And the cool thing was, it was just like dropping out of your head into your body. But all of a sudden, I started to laugh uncontrollably, literally. And if you know me very well, I'm a pretty serious guy. Although after this, I'm not going to be so serious, or at least it's something I'm going to make a habit and work on. But you'll also see that I probably don't laugh a whole lot, but all of a sudden I started laughing uncontrollably to the point where after about a minute, I couldn't stop laughing for the whole minute, and tears started to pour out of my eyes. But it wasn't tears of sadness. It was tears from laughing so hard that I just started to, that just started to pour out of my eyes. But I haven't laughed like this in years. I haven't felt this good. And I can tell you that, man, how powerful laughing is, and just the release of the emotions was. But my first thought was like, okay, well, how do I do this again? Because I have access to this any time of day that I want. Now think about this. Joy, we have access to, just like anger, rage, frustration, all those things. But we train ourselves to be angry. We train ourselves, to even be serious. We train ourselves to be frustrated because that is a normal pattern. Maybe we grew up in, the people we were around in our past, or it was just automatic. So I can do the same thing with joy. I could do the same thing with happiness. It just has to be trained the same way that it was with frustration or maybe being serious. But the point is I have access to either one of these any time of the day that I want. But first I have to do this one thing. I have to stop taking life so serious. And this is really a simple reminder for me to look in the mirror, smile, laugh, dance, lose control. And like, trust me when I say this, this was not the traditional dance that you're thinking of. This was kind of like letting my body lose control and take over. So this wasn't like a choreographed dance that maybe you see on, TikTok or something like that. But maybe this resonates with you. Maybe it doesn't. But when you come home from a long day at work, the last thing that we often want to do is, maybe laugh, dance, have fun, any of those things. We're still in a pretty serious mood, or at least I am. And I'm really working and focusing on how do I stop taking life so serious. And so I came up with 3 ways that you can stop taking life so serious. Number 1, stop trying to control everything around you. How do you know you're trying to control everything around you? You get triggered when other people are laughing, when other people are doing stuff. Maybe your kids are fighting. Maybe they're having fun and you're just trying to control everything. You're getting frustrated about it. Number 2 is make a habit of having fun every day for 5 to 10 minutes. Move, dance, laugh, jump. Doesn't matter whether it's in your home or in your office. Find a way and make a habit of having fun. Have fun with yourself. Have fun with your spouse, your kids, employees, clients. Number 1, I think have fun with yourself is super important, because if you can't figure that out, you're going to always expect someone else to have fun. Number 3, let go of the need to control your experience. Find yourself reacting. If you find yourself reacting, just take a deep breath, start laughing, even if you don't feel like it, or even just start smiling. And you'll watch and see what actually happens the minute you start laughing or the minute you start smiling. You'll watch what changes in your energy. Start doing these three things and actually see what happens. And the final last piece of this is life is meant to be fun. Life challenges, the things that we come to in life, the experiences we have, they're meant to be fun. And if we stop taking them so serious, we won't be so hard on ourselves. We won't be so critical of what's going on in our lives. So I want to leave you with this one thing. Stop taking life so serious. If you guys are looking to connect further with a group of like-minded people, join myself and so many others in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Secrets group on Facebook, where I will be dropping daily habits to help you live your full potential. Maybe you want to be one of our next case studies and begin living this habit-based lifestyle. If you have questions, comments, or requests, feel free to reach out to me, Jesse, at habitbasedlifestyle.com. Until next episode, have a great day.